I had an OB with Mornay, and there's some really unprecedented stuff going on. And it turns out that there are three councils, one from Sixth that is going to be representing itself, that have summoned Anu of the Anunnaki. And they're going to be talking to him directly about the situation with the sons, and specifically about the crimes that Enlil has done in many different places. So this is all going to go down. He couldn't give me time because it wouldn't have, I would not have been able to relate to when that actually occurred. But he said soon. The appointment or the meeting has been accepted by Anu. And I said, did these things happen? He goes, no, this would be a first that many of us would be there to represent. And I said, well, how are you going to impress upon him? He said, well, we have the holographs. And we're going to ask the Father to intervene. And if he does not, then we're going to intervene. That's basically the choices he's going to have. So, wow.
As a contactee and an emissary of the star nations, I bring all my information through physical contacts with extraterrestrials on board ships off-world. I also bring information through technology. Also, I do not do channeling or downloads. All is physical and technological experience. Here is now what I could witness on October 30th, 2022, as I was escorted by Thorhan Eredion, my contact in the Galactic Federation of Worlds, on board a scout ship of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, to a meeting place located on an undisclosed mothership of the Alliance, somewhere in the star system. There was an extraordinary council meeting going on using holographic projection as generally in use among the star nations. As I described in my book, The Cedars, council reunions never occur physically for security reasons that we can understand, and also commodity. Projection rooms can be anywhere, on planets, off planets, or on board ships. I was welcomed by Ardana, the High Commander of the battle station Excelsior from the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and a friend of mine, who led me to an antechamber where a very beautiful Zene woman waited for me. She was tall, blue skin, very delicate, but strong and royal. We entered a huge and dark projection room. A big crowd of representatives from the council, 3 councils of the Nataru Alliance, were present, including a great diversity of races and cultures, of course. These 3 councils of the Nataru Alliance were the High Council of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, the Council of 5, and the Andromedan Council. These three great galactic councils were meeting the Cedars Council from the Intergalactic Confederation. I understood I had my place among this crowd due to my function of emissary. Ardana invited me to step ahead onto a circular pad on the ground, which would enable me to be more than an observer and actually take part in the meeting as a holographic projection of myself. In other words, everyone else could see me and hear me, although I may have not been able or, assigned to speak, but I was there, part of everyone, as my duty and my work. And as I did so, I felt an electromagnetic wave running from my feet up through my body. And I had a second of total dizziness. I took a deep breath and I noticed my surroundings with an indescribable awe. Una was present on my left. She just barely acknowledged me very quickly because she was very focused on the meeting, but she was accompanied with representatives of the Intergalactic Confederation, mainly Altians, but also I saw Hregs, Ormongs, and other Cedar races I couldn't define from where I stood. The projection hall was divided into two factions, one on either side. On one side, on my left, was the Alliance, the Nataru Alliance, and the Intergalactic Confederation. And on the opposite side, on my right, the enemy's representative faction leaders. Ooh, a nervous shiver really ran through my body when I realized who was there on the right, I sense also Anax in the good crowd there with the Council of Five, but a bit far away from me to interact, but he was there too. Everyone was represented. And in the center, broadcasting from his home world, located somewhere in the Orion zone, Anu was present. The Father King, the monarch of all Anunnaki. He was there as a giant being of bright, translucent light, sat on a high throne. This throne was, in fact, in reality, a holographic projection chair. I couldn't tell if he was wearing clothes because his body was extremely bright. No wonder why the Anunnaki elite are called the Shining Ones. As Enki once explained to me, the Anunnaki elites do master the secrets of eternal life, and the components they use to sustain their body involves ingredients such as monoatomic gold. And Enki told me that these methods can make with time the skin glow and really shine. Anu was moving a lot, stepping down and back on his seat, walking around with large moves. He had a long, elongated skull and bright blue eyes. He was magnificent and looked massive. Visually, he measured, I think, about 12 feet high, but I do not know, if it was his real size or magnified effect from the holographic projection, because Enki is not that tall. It's very tall, but not 12 feet high. But with people, you can have different heights and sizes in the same race, So either sides of the father's throne really reminded me of the biblical abductions stories, such as Enoch, when he sees God on his throne and the angels either sides, and it was the same settings in this projection meeting hall. There was the main seat where Anu was, and this seat was a bit more elevated, and on the sides, the two opposite factions of the council, So there were these two factions, and at Anu's right hand, so my left, because I was facing him, was Enki in a blue robe, sat in a large chair, standing alongside the Alliance. On Anu's left hand, on the other side, my right, was Enlil, in a yellow jumpsuit with black stripes on the side of its arms. He was attached to a seat by a collar and braces at his wrists and ankles. And I could finally see what Enlil looks like. And, he was strikingly different from Enki. You could clearly tell them apart. Enlil was taller than Enki and more robust, and his face was larger and stronger. He had a stronger bone structure, especially prominent cheekbones, and he had slanted eyes and a large nose, and the nose was a bit, had a bit of bump, but large in the middle. It was really different. So I couldn't tell the color of his eyes really. Maybe bronze or gold, something like this. His skin was clear brown, a little bit tanned. Enki's skin is paler, and he's more thinner, and he has beautiful blue eyes. So this being, Enlil, well, also his energy field was different. He radiated eons of power and military leadership. You could really feel, sense to this, what was coming out of him. But for now, I have to say, he looked as he was tied as a prisoner and quite a little bit resentful and pissed off, I'd say. So standing in the center of the hall now, there was the herald of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, of the High Council. It's the Tengri, described in my last book, the Tengri I met already when I assisted High Council meetings. So this Tengri herald was enumerating the list of all misdeeds of Enlil's and his followers, while in the same time there was an animated holographic display. It was ahead of the Tengri, a little bit up, that everyone could see. So that was showing what the Tengri was describing, and it was showing scenes like the sequences of a long movie. So when I arrived, this list had been going on for, I was told, 6 Earth hours already. All names were named from the dawn of history. ETs and Earthlings involved in these misdeeds through history since the start. Since 372,000 years BC. Oh my God. So when you think about it, 6 hours are short. You don't have the time to, say all these things, enumerate all these things in only 6 hours. But time runs differently up there. Something which is very interesting is that I also noticed that Earth leaders from the Earth Alliance, that are commonly called White Hats, were present as well. But I was strictly asked, I'm very sorry, by Ardana not to name them. Nonetheless, anyone is welcome to guess. Galactic Federation of Worlds style of disclosure. And these Earth leaders from the Earth Alliance, the White Hats, were on Enki's side of the room, at the right hand of Anu. I learned that at some point, Anu never wanted to get involved in anything Enlil was doing on Earth, because he was tired of Enlil provoking conflicts constantly. That is the reason why Anu left the star system prematurely at the time. Some records, some true artifacts and texts from ancient times, from ancient cultures, mention this episode of the history of humankind. And these artifacts are carved in stone inside of pyramids, written on papyrus, carved on clay tablets. It's physical artifacts that you can find in museums or historical sites in Egypt and Mesopotamia and other places as well throughout the world. These records mention this episode of history of humankind when the father figure of the gods, tired with all the custodian conflict, left Earth to go back to Orion. And of course, pyramid texts, Turin papyrus, and other artifacts. And when he left, Anu let his two sons debate about the ownership of this planet. Well, the good old Ra is back, summoned by the Intergalactic Confederation. You know these old stories of the god Ra leaving the Earth and letting the custody of Earth to his two sons, is also depicted in the Sumerian king list as well. It's the story of Seth and Osiris, Poseidon and Zeus, Loki and Thor, and Krishna and Shiva. You know, it's everywhere around the world. So now the father is back. The great king is back of them, summoned by the Intergalactic Confederation. Seemingly, only the Intergalactic Confederation can summon Anu. You know why? It's because the Intergalactic Confederation represents a higher hierarchy above the Anunnaki. The Galactic Federation of Worlds never had this power because they are on an equal level with the Anunnaki regarding galactic laws. I was impressed to notice on Enlil's side the projection also of a tall Sikaar reptilian being. He was absolutely massive, massive. Probably one of their captured leaders. He was massive and had an impressive line of teeth that I believe were like a double row. Like there was a long one inside and a shorter one on the outside. Also, his skin was like a crocodile skin, greenish brown, and he wore clothes, like jumpsuit. It was a very, shiny black jumpsuit. And he also had impressive bat-like dark olive green wings that were tied in his back by metal clips. And he had a prisoner's collar as well, same as Enlil. And he was responding also for a lot of terrible things, obviously. I was wondering what this reptilian being was doing there, who he was. I understood he was an important enemy character and formerly involved in the deep state on Earth, of course, at a high degree, probably. But then I was told by Una after the meeting, because she gave me all the extra informations afterwards, that this being underwent on Earth under the title Pindar. Interesting. So it was the end of the enumeration of the holographic list of accusation, and the Tengri herald stepped back. Anu asked Enlil if he responded for all these accusations against him. And in these councils, it works by frequency. You cannot lie. Enlil said yes, without hesitation. He had no other choice than tell the truth. Anu and the Intergalactic Confederation seemed to be in a tense relationship. I could really feel it, and I understood why. When Tayel, the Eltian leader of the Seeders group, started to speak, here is what he said. Well, when they found Earth, he said, the Anunnaki tampered with a genetic experiment belonging to the Intergalactic Confederation without asking them. So there was trespassing. The Terrans, as a genetic experiment, were under the Intergalactic Confederation's protection until they were able to evolve in consciousness up to a certain level where we are today. Now the process has begun, and many of the Terrans have shifted into a 5D construct of consciousness, and the percentage is significant enough. Humans of Earth are progressively standing for themselves. They are also claiming their freedom, and you are about to stand as a free race and a free culture, in front of the galactic community and the intergalactic community. The Terrans, you, are becoming an independent, interstellar culture, and it changes the game. Enki, bringing back the original DNA template, is redeeming the misdeeds of his people in general. So now Enlil's faction that still remains on Earth, not Enlil because he's neutralized, quoting Enki, somewhere on a prison world, but his faction that still remains on Earth has no reason to stay anymore. The karma has been redeemed, the wrong has been righted. Regarding universal law, no one can right the wrongs for others in a karmic perspective. So the Anunnaki respond for their people, and so on. This is the reason why Enki brought back the original Adamic DNA template himself on behalf of his people to erase the karmic debt. Anu declared that he's going to recall Enki's son back and remove him from Earth, and there is no reason for him to stay anymore, this son of Enlil. So I got it confirmed that the name of Enlil's son is, well, Ninurta, although they have another name for him, which is Nintak. Nuntuk can be told Nuntuk. That's a real name, but he is known on Earth as Ninurta, most commonly. It was confusing me at the start, but Thorhan explained to me that Ninurta is a title. And this being has also other titles regarding local cultures and dialects. His real Iti name is Nintuk. Similarly to, Enki is a title, and his real name is Ea, his birth name, and as well as Enlil's real name, birth name is Yu. All the details, you find them in my book, The Seers. So as a note, the Anunnaki extraterrestrials in general do not consider themselves as gods. All right? This misunderstanding comes from the ancient population on Earth, from humans who saw them as supernatural beings, of course, so as they weren't understanding the technology, they were calling them gods, So, although a few of them, such as Enlil and his son Ninurta, mainly enjoyed playing fear-mongering, sadistic, and violent gods to manipulate humans into conflict. You find these bloodthirsty gods in different religions of the book. I'll let you find out for yourselves. Every time a god calls out for war and slaughter, sacrifice, blood, that was just Enlil's son enjoying themselves, dividing to conquer. A motto that has been used a lot by the Roman Empire, and it's divide and conquer and tactic. And I let you find out the thread that arrives right into a certain institution in Rome. Holy, not institution in Rome. So manipulating humans into conflict, it was easier to control them then, and as long as they have been fighting among themselves, humans of Earth never united to turn against the real enemy. And I am sorry to say, through to this day. So to resume what I have learned when attending this extraordinary council, Enlil was arrested last Earth year, and he is now judged for crimes infringing intergalactic laws. This date of when he was arrested coincides with the return of Enki into the solar system last year in September 2021 on board the Nibiru ship, of which he has the ownership now. The head reptilian elite of the Illuminati was also arrested, the Pindar reptilian. Now, at the request of the Intergalactic Confederation, Enlil's son Ninurta is about to be removed by Anu, who has higher authority above Ninurta. Coincidental events with the awakening of the sleeping giants everywhere on Earth, who will be beneficial to humanity? if Enlil hadn't decided to tamper with a genetic experiment already under the custody of other ETs, and these ETs are the Intergalactic Confederation, and they are part of a superior grade regarding the laws of this universe. Well, if Enlil hadn't ordered this council, which I attended, I had the honor to attend, wouldn't have happened. There are going to be some changes on Earth. The old, corrupted world is dying, crumbling on its rotten poles into the depthless, decaying pond. As a human on Earth, it is an honor and a privilege and a responsibility to have chosen to incarnate into these biblical times. You are the warriors of truth at the time of the great apocalypse, when the light is being revealed and humanity of Earth stands free for the first time in its history. The gods who are back are no extraterrestrials. The gods who are back are the humans of Earth. You are the sleeping gods, finally awakening to your true nature, glory, and power.